People pay electricians hundreds of pounds for simple jobs like these, but the truth is, most of them are way easier than you'd think. So I'm going to show you 5 electrical jobs that you can do yourself safely and save a lot of money. So the first thing we're going to do is a decorative light switch, change one of these boring old light switches for a nice new one. This is one of the easiest jobs you can do yourself, and people still pay electricians about £80 to come and change one of these. I'm going to go and isolate the power. Now obviously anything electrical, we need to make sure we isolate the power properly. I'll show you the basics as we go, but these are all straightforward jobs that you homeowners can tackle yourself. I start by isolating the circuit that this light switch is on. So the first basic test, and this is not proven that it's isolated, but the light's not working, so we've got a good idea that that probably is the circuit that we've just turned off, but we are going to check that once we've got the front off this. Some switches will have little white blanking caps on, then we can pop the screws out. So the switch is now forward, but don't go rummaging around in the back there yet, because we want to know the switch is safe to work on. I'm just using my voltage tester on a proven unit to check it's working, and we're then going to use the probes on the terminals in the back of the switch, and we've got continuity but no voltage. Now if you haven't got them tools, we have done that little test that we did earlier. The light's not working, and I would encourage that you at least grab one of these. These are really cheap. This is just a little voltage pen, but if they're all you got, then they're better than nothing. Typically what you'll have is a live terminal there. That brings power to the switch, and then a switched live. So that's why that's got a brown bit of sleeving on there. That's indicating that this, what was a neutral conductor, is now a switched live. So that is to be treated as a live conductor. Now normally in the back of a standard light switch here in the UK, you've got COM, which is common, and that'll be where your live conductor's going into. And then your switched live will typically be in L1 or L2. For beginners, I would encourage you take a picture just in case you forget. Just using a flathead screwdriver, these shouldn't be too tight. I'm going to undo the switch live. Doesn't matter what order you do these in, just remember where they go. So that goes into L1, and undo my live wire. Now you've probably noticed there's a third piece of wire in there. That is the earth. So this cable coming into the box is called a twin and earth. That means it's got two conductors in there and an earth, and the earth is terminated in the back of the metal box. Any metal boxes should be earthed. We're going to change that and do something with that earth when we upgrade the switch. So we can leave that alone for now and unbox our switch. Now this video will help you even if you're just replacing a faulty white plastic switch. I think people pay electricians for this because they think it's a daunting job, but actually it's really, really simple, and it's a good place to start to teach you electrics. And later in the video you'll see why it's important to learn some of this stuff, because it'll carry over to some of the stuff we're about to do later in the video. You'll notice our new switch is metal, quite a common upgrade because they just look better. And that means if we look at the switches side by side, you'll notice something additional. But what we can see is the rest of this is pretty much identical. L1, L2 and common. So we know where them cables need to go. L1 first, I'm going to pop my switch live in there. You'll notice this cable's doubled over on the ends. When you've got a single piece of cable going into a terminal, it's good to double them over like that already is. That just gives the terminal screw a better chance of getting a good connection. So I'll pop that brown conductor, which is the live, into common like it was before. You don't need to over tighten these, just give them a pull. Try and pull them out. If you can't pull them out, they're going to be good to go. Now, because we've introduced a metal faceplate, we need to extend the earth. So we can take earth from that earth terminal there. So now you'll want an offcut of twin and earth cable. You can get this at any DIY store. If I strip it back, you'll see what's inside. So all we're going to do is pull that earth conductor out. Now you're going to want this stuff, a piece of earth sleeving, and that just tells anyone in the future that that is an earth conductor. I double the wire over because it's the only one going into this switch. I pop it in the terminal and do the screw up. Now we can pop the switch back to the wall. You just push the cables in, get the screws started by hand. I'll make sure it's level, and then I'll give the screws a final tighten. I know you're probably liking this little level. I'll link it in the description if you want to grab one. They're cheap and they're brilliant. Turn the circuit back on. Now we can test it. There we go. That was about 15 minutes work, and you saved yourself about £80. Now this next one is going to make your home feel more modern instantly, because we've all got these annoying things, different cables, USB-Cs, USBs, and then you forget the different plugs and blah. Let's get rid of all that. And what we're going to do is put in a socket that simplifies all of it with USB and USB-C built in. Now we could isolate in the same way as before if we want to, but there is a simple and cheap method for this, a socket tester. Pop that in the socket I want to change, turn it on, and you've got 2 green lights that not only tell you it's wired correctly, so we know we can copy it, but also it's given us an audible tone. And now I can turn off the circuit that socket's on. And once it's stopped, we know it's safe to work on. Now I'm using my little flex electric screwdriver just because it's faster to take the screws out of the faceplate of the switch, and then I can pull the switch face forward. This one you can see there's a bit more going on. We've got 2 neutrals, that's because this is on a ring, so coming in and going out to the next socket. 2 lives coming in and going out to the next socket, and 2 earths coming in and going to the next socket, and 1 going to earth the back box. Just like the light switch, take a picture if you need to, so that you don't forget. And then flathead screwdriver again, just undo all of those cables. Now if we look at the new one, which is a British General socket, you'll see it's got the colours marked on the top. Sometimes they'll be slightly differently laid out, but that's upside down. Just check before you wire it up that you're putting the live, neutral and earths in the correct terminals. Because there's multiple wires going into each terminal, we don't need to double them over. Just make sure they're inserted with enough of the sleeving stripped off. If they come out of a fairly modern socket, they should be anyway. Give all the terminals a nice little nip up, and just like before, just do the pull test. Check none of them are going to pop out. And then push the wires in, push the face of the socket back to the wall, and we can do it up with our screwdriver. Get it nice and level because it'll look awful if not, and then finish it off by hand. Now we can turn the power back on and test the socket. But the best bit, no more of them annoying bricks. We can just charge the phone straight from the socket. Now if this video is helping you, make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss another helpful video that's coming soon, and hit that like button down below because that helps this video to get out there and help more people. Now I'm going to show you how to wire a 13 amp plug. So many people still get this wrong. It looks simple and it is simple, but if you get it wrong it could potentially be dangerous. So I'm going to show you a very simple and easy way to do it so that it's perfect every time. Now straight out of the box, a lot of plugs have this diagram on the back. Now this is useful, keep it there as a reference, but it doesn't teach you the little tips and tricks to get this done nice and easily. So key things to look at, of course we've got the cable hole, we've got 3 screws and 3 pins. This is our earth pin, this is neutral and this is live. Now this middle screw is the one that takes the cover off the body of the plug. These 2 screws here, well they just release the clamp that holds the cable into the plug so it can't be pulled out. So we don't undo them 2 yet, we're just going to undo that middle one. And what that's going to do is allow us to split the plug. Now you can see them other 2 screws there, the ones that hold the cable in. If I were you, I'd whip one of those out now because that's going to make things a little bit easier, and the other one, we'll just loosen that off. So that screw can come out, and that one there, we'll just loosen that off, and that's going to allow us to move the band out of the way so we can get the cable in. One really important thing that a lot of people miss is the fuse. A lot of people just leave a 13 amp fuse in there. I've spun the fuse round and you can see it says 13 amp on there. When you buy a plug like this, a 13 amp plug, well, they come with a 13 amp fuse as standard, but it's important that we consider the wattage of the appliance we're using the plug for because we need to put the right fuse in there. You'd use a little 3 amp for things like lights, TVs and fans, and you'd use a bigger 13 amp fuse for higher wattage appliances like kettles, hair dryers and things like that. So we've got a standard flex cable that you'd find on most appliances here in the UK. So the very first thing we do to get the right length of cable so we don't get the conductors hanging out of here, it's always horrible when you see coloured cable hanging out the bottom of a plug. You know it's not been wired up correctly. I grab a length of cable and I shuffle that up until it's in line with the very top of the plug. Just for your reference, I'll make a little mark with a pencil there. Set of automatic wire strippers next. These come in really handy. I'll link them in the description. We're just going to strip on that mark that we made, pop the end off that cable there, and you'll see the 3 conductors inside. We've got live, neutral and earth. Now some appliances you'll wire up, they won't have this one. They won't have earth. That won't be an earthed appliance, and therefore we just would miss this one out. But I'll show you all 3 because most things here in the UK now are probably going to have an earth in them. Now these conductors are going to get trimmed back. Currently it would look like they're going to be too long and we'd have coloured cable exposed, which we don't want. Now just slacken off all the little terminal screws. So what conductor do you wire up first? Do you do the live, do you do the earth, or do you do the neutral? Well, I would advise that you do the one with the fuse on, which is the live. If we were to do the other 2 first, you'd then end up fumbling around trying to feed this last one in. So what I like to do is I line the outer sheath up just so it's going to be nipped in the cable clip there. And you can see we need about 5mm of exposed cable between there and there. So what we're going to do is just grab the live conductor, we're going to hold it there, and we're just going to make a small mark just where we want to snip that off. Trim that off, and then using our wire strippers, we'll just trim off 5mm, and what I like to do is just wind the strands of copper together. And then all we're going to do is pop that in there. What you don't want is exposed copper at the bottom of the pin there. So we're going to do that up, and that is going to be in the perfect position. You can do either of these two next, but I like to do the neutral. One little tip for you, these pins, they actually pop out on most plugs. Now you'll see the neutral is going to come up and it's going to fold back over and it's going to go in like that, upside down. So you can already see the amount you need to snip off. Once you've snipped and stripped the cable, you can see that by pushing that pin out, that gives us the ability to get the perfect angle to then get the cable in and do up that screw nice and tight. Then we can push the pin back in. Now here's your top tip. You can see that green and yellow there, looks really tight. Looks like these. Look like these ones that we've done here. But this one is to be left a little bit longer. And you'll see that's the reason that I do that little trick at the start where I go for the length of the body of the plug, because that will cause this conductor, the earth conductor, to be a little bit longer, and that's going to end up looping around in the top there. If somebody pulls this out accidentally, we want the earth to be the last one to pop out, just for safety. It makes it a little bit safer. Now we can replace the restraint and do up the screw. We can't pull that out if we try. Super tight, and then we can pop the cover back on and do up the screw nice and tight. So there you go, some simple tricks, but you now have the perfectly wired plug using tricks that only the pros know. Now what I've got in this box is an absolute game changer. It's going to change the way you do DIY electrics, and it's one of them things that is used by electricians every day, but actually will make your DIY electrics safer, quicker and easier. So it's a no-brainer, and let me show you why. You've all seen a conventional cable connector, sometimes referred to as a chocolate block. They can be fiddly because, well, we've got to get a screwdriver out, and then we've got to get the right torque on the screw. There's lots of different sizes, and it can just be a little bit old-fashioned. The other thing you might have seen on the market here in the UK are these push-fit connectors. Now they're actually pretty good, but the problem with them is if you want to take them off again, you've got to cut the cable. You can sometimes twist them free, but if you're working in an actual situation in a tight space, that can be pretty tricky. So these are what I've been using for years, Wago 221s, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. Now I'll show you the basics of using these and why they're so good, but in the last job that we're going to do at the end of this video, I'm actually going to use them in a live job, so you'll see how good they are then. So what makes these so good? Well, the first thing is speed. Speed and simplicity are the main thing that attracts me to these, and the fact that we can see the conductor through the body. Some of these have a coloured body and you can't actually see the conductor. You'll see why that's important in a second. If we pop a cable in there, you can see there's no screws. It's a complete lever system, and that is now locked on. And you can see on these clear ones if the conductor's in properly. If it's past the strip, you can see if you've stripped too much off the cable because you don't want any copper exposed here. You can see that you've made a really good connection. So it makes your work safer, and it makes it that much faster as well. Now for some lighting setups, like you'll see later in the video, you might need a 5-terminal 221. Well, they do them. And one of the most common ones I use these days are these little splicers for just connecting, for example, 2 lighting cables together. I find them very, very handy. Sometimes you might just want to extend or connect single cables together, and these make it so quick and easy. And if you're worried about how strong they are, so they are super strong, and you'll see them in use later in the video. Now all the work you've seen so far has been done to an electrician's standard. I know that because I've spent time working beside an electrician, and all we've done by doing it ourselves is saved a load of money. But the next job is the one that people get wrong the most and are most scared of taking on themselves. A standard ceiling rose and bulb, and upgrading it to a decorative ceiling light. When people pay so much money for an electrician to come and do this, we'll undo the collar first. Now I'm not going to go through safe isolation again. Just make sure you're safe. Use the principles that you've already learned. I'm going to tell you what all these cables do because then it'll make more sense. That neutral is just wrapped around there. Let's undo it. That makes things a little bit easier. So you can see that goes into the neutral block. You'll typically have 3 pieces of wire in there. So you've got your neutral that goes down to the bulb and completes the circuit. You've got another neutral in there, and that's coming from the previous room, and you've got another neutral next to it, and that is going off to the next room. So that's all that is. If we look here, we've got our earths. That's just an earth for each cable to protect the cable, so they're all staying together. And then in this middle one, where all the lives are, that'll probably be labelled loop. Again, you'll have a cable coming in from the previous room, one going out to the next room, and then another brown one that goes off to that switch that I showed you at the start of the video. And in this last block, there's the switch live that comes up from that circuit. So that then completes the circuit, and this brown wire that goes down to the bulb meets up with it and allows the power to come down there, and voila, your light comes on. It's pretty high up here and quite hard to film this, but take a picture of all this so that you don't forget, and we're going to take all those cables out of the terminals. Now remove the screws going into the ceiling and remove the whole ceiling rows. Now at the moment all of our cables are just sitting there. Our new light is going to cover up quite a large area, so what I want to do is just dig out a little bit of the ceiling here just so I can get this box in once we've got the connections made. And connecting the cables is really easy because of them 221 Wagos. So the first thing to do, connect up the neutral that comes from the previous room and the one that goes to the next room, just like that. What I'm then going to do is connect up all three of the lives, the one that goes to the switch, the one that goes to the next room, and the one from the previous room. So we've got all the lives, all the neutrals. Now we're going to connect all the earths. For this we'll use a slightly bigger Wago. This one's a 5, but you could use a 4, just like that. And that just leaves the switched live that comes back from the switch. And that is going to go into one of these splice Wagos. And in the back of a typical decorative light here in the UK, you'll have one of them connector blocks with a live terminal, a neutral and an earth. So that's all the wiring in, apart from the conductors that go down to that light that I showed you a moment ago. So I've taken them out and I'm now going to wire them into the Wagos. The brown live that goes to the light, that's going in with the switched live that came back from the switch. The grey neutral, you can use blue if you want to, that's going in with all the other neutrals. And of course the very last one, earth, that goes down to the light. So we've now got the 3 conductors that go down to the light, but we want to put this lot back up into the ceiling because we're not going to fit it within our decorative light fitting. Now all these boxes are slightly different, but this D-box one, all you're going to do is snap it shut, pop the pin in to hold it shut, and then we're going to push it up into the ceiling space so it's out the way. Once the box is up into the ceiling, we're left with a neutral, a live and an earth that we can wire into the back of the light fitting, just like I showed you a minute ago. You'll probably have something that looks a little bit like this. And it's really hard to film this, but all I'm doing is screwing that bracket to the ceiling. And it should look something like this. You should be able to push the light up, give it a little turn. Now to hold the light in place to the bracket, there's just a couple of screws to do up on the side. Now we can turn the power back on, hit the switch, and that's one light installed and working perfectly. So there's 5 electrical jobs that most people pay for that you can do yourself and save hundreds of pounds. Let me know in the comments which ones are you going to try yourself. Let me know if there's anything I've missed that you want me to cover in another video, and check one of these videos for more electrical tips. See you in the next one.